Editor-in-Chief and Webmaster for the Blake Beat. Without further ado, it's my honor to welcome the Class of 2021 student speaker, Olivia Gyapong.
Go, Olivia!
Thank you, Sophia. Good morning, Blake, or for my Key and Peele fans out there, Balake classmates, staff members, family, friends, and cicadas. In a couple months, I will be headed to the University of Missouri to study journalism. In my opinion, the cardinal rule of journalism is do the legwork. Now, in a journalistic sense, this means putting the time and effort into obtaining the whole truth. But for non-journalists, doing the legwork can be interpreted as making an effort to take tangible, meaningful steps towards solving problems you've identified. This philosophy of action over words is not just applicable to journalism alone. This philosophy, though simple, can and should be applied to all aspects of our lives after high school. After what we have witnessed this year in terms of dangerous disinformation, the politicization of health and science, racial inequality, educational inequity, and so much more, I am sure we're all exhausted. Quite frankly, I'm exhausted from turning on my television or opening my Instagram to see the same posts over and over again. But what is really being done to resolve these issues we are all so tired of being angry about? Sure, signing petitions is helpful, donating to GoFundMes is helpful, creating a cacophony of online civil unrest that draws attention to an issue is helpful. But these are only superficial measures. Posting black squares on social media pages is helpful, but more can be done to end racial injustice in this country. Reposting something from a change.org account is helpful, but more can be done to keep women safe. Ranting about gun violence on Twitter or under a Moco for Change post is helpful, but more can be done to end mass shootings. I must admit, I am guilty of this. But I also remind myself constantly that noise itself changes nothing. Action does. These are good first steps, but we can all go further to ensure we're creating real, positive change. Ask yourself what you do outside the realm contained within the screen of your phone. Ask yourself if you are doing the legwork. We must take a grassroots approach and go in search of these people. Find our sources. We must listen to those affected by the issues we are most likely removed from, but feel a need to fix. A good journalist, and a good social justice warrior for that matter, humbles themselves and lets their sources give them the information. They learn all they can about the nature of the story in its entirety before they take their next steps. As harbingers of good in this world, we must humble ourselves and ask those we are trying to help what it is they need from us. We are soon going to be interacting with the people deeply affected by the very issues we claim to care about. I'm certain some of our classmates sitting beside you have been the victims of some of these issues. If you knew their stories, would you feel comfortable looking them in the eye and telling them you've done everything in your power to help them and others like them? Can you confidently tell them you have done the legwork? We must ask them what has worked and what hasn't in the past. We must ask them how they would like to be helped. They are the authority on their plight. We are not. Once we listen to them and gather our initial information, we must act. We must take our plan for action back to them for their approval. We must work with them collaboratively throughout the whole activism process. We are there to help them, to lift up their voices and enable themselves and their stories to shine. It is an iterative and collaborative process that puts the narrative of those affected by the issue front and center. It is a process that takes trial and error, persistence and creativity, but it is a necessary process. Change-making is not always glorious or easy, but it is the right thing to do. We are inheriting an incredibly fractured society full of discord. This is not new information, but our class has all the tools and potential to start healing these deep wounds. Our class simply does not quit. Some of us managed to write and perform our own one-act plays. Our student athletes managed to come back and have winning seasons despite less training time and uncertain practice schedules. We've led marches demanding climate action, racial injustice, and rights for immigrants. We've made it to the end of high school successfully after a crazy plague year. Each of these impressive feats required a huge amount of tenacity, intelligence, dedication, and passion, all traits required for change making. This year has shown us how resilient our class can be in the face of uncertainty, and that is a trait we will absolutely need going forward. Each of us has the capacity to do incredible things with our lives. We just have to take action and do the legwork required to make our dreams of a progressive and complete society come to fruition. We will all make our marks in our own ways. We can apply this philosophy of doing the legwork to all aspects of everyday life. We can go out and be nice to our coworkers. We can show more gratitude to our lovely parents and teachers. We can start nonprofits or make significant medical advancements that help others and allow the voiceless to finally have a voice. But whatever we do, we must do the legwork. We must humble ourselves and ask for help when we need it. We must allow ourselves to ask those who know better than us what the path forward looks like our staff and family members. When we didn't know the way forward over these past 4 years, we turned to them for help. And in so many instances, they helped us find a path to success. Now, it's up to us to make plans to effect change on whatever level possible, and then find new ways forward when those plans inevitably fail. Whatever we do, we must be intentional in our everlasting plight to do the legwork to create lasting positive change for the world around us. The age we live in and the world we are entering mandates this. We must do the legwork to create a better, more equal society, and I'm positive we can do this because we are the class of 2021. Congrats, everyone!